Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today's video, well, it's something that I would say we've all had happen to us multiple times, to be honest, during our life. You've been in the bath, maybe washing dishes, you look at your hands, they've gone all wrinkly. But how does this happen, and why does it happen? Experiments, they've shown that in warm water, so that's about 40 Celsius, fingers start to wrinkle after 3.5 minutes. In cooler water, about 20 Celsius, it may take up to 10 minutes for the fingers to start wrinkling. But regardless of the temperature, fingers, they tend to reach maximum wrinklage after 30 minutes. How does this wrinkling occur? It used to be thought that the wrinkling of the fingers, and also the toes, it happens to your toes as well, occurred by osmosis. This is where water moves from the outer surface of the skin, and some of the water passes through the skin into the finger, and this causes the skin to swell. Now, since 1935, this has become less of a cause, although it's still thought there is a small effect due to osmosis. In 1935, it was noticed that people with nerve damage to the median nerve that runs down the arm and into your fingers, well, if it was damaged, they didn't get wrinkly fingers. The median nerve, it's got many functions, but one of them is it functions as part of the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system, this is your internal system, and it controls things like your breathing, your heart rate, your perspiration. So it shows that the wrinkling is not actually due to the osmosis effect, but rather it's due to the nervous system. In further studies carried out in the 1970s, this hypothesis, it was confirmed. It actually led to a very simple test to try and assess nerve damage in an arm. The hand, you simply submerge it in water and check to see if wrinkles developed. There was an experiment carried out in 2003. Neurologists, they soaked hands in water and then they actually measured the blood flow within the hands as they wrinkled. What they found that as the skin wrinkled, the blood flow to the fingers was actually reduced. And it's this loss of blood flow that reduces the volume of flesh area in the fingertips and actually then pulls down the underlying skin, and that's what causes the wrinkle. In the same experiment, what they then did was they covered some fingers in an anaesthetic gel. Now, this gel, it caused the blood vessels in the fingertips to constrict, reducing the blood flow. The result? It also caused the fingers to wrinkle, even though they weren't in water. This experiment, it let the neurologists investigate this in more detail. What they think happens is when you put your fingers into water, the sweat ducts, they open. This then lets some water in, and as the water enters the sweat duct, it causes an imbalance in the salt levels within that sweat duct. This salt imbalance, it then triggers the nerve to fire. That nerve firing gets a response, which triggers the blood vessels in the fingertip to constrict, reduces the blood flow, and leads to the fingers wrinkling. There is thought to still be a bit of swelling due to that osmosis, but the scientists don't believe that this is enough to make a noticeable difference. In 2020, there was a study performed at the Science Museum in London, and this looked at the force that was needed to pick up some plastic objects. When picking up a dry item with dry hands, this used the least amount of force. When picking an item up that is submerged in water with unwrinkled fingers, this took the largest amount of force. When picking up a submerged item with wrinkled fingers, well, the amount of force required, it fell between the other two. In 2013, there was a study at Newcastle University in the UK, and they ran an experiment where the participants had to move marbles of various sizes and fishing weights from one container to another. They found it took 17% longer to transfer submerged items with unwrinkled fingers. Then, using wrinkled fingers, it was 12% faster than the unwrinkled fingers. They also found that when transferring dry items, there was no difference if the fingers were wrinkled or not. It's thought that by creating them little wrinkles in your fingertips and in your toes as well. It creates water channels that lets water flow away. And this is similar to the way that rain treads work on car tyres. The benefit of this wrinkling, well, it's thought to be an evolutionary adaptation, and it allowed our ancestors to have a better grip when walking on wet rocks. Yep, as I've already said, your toes do wrinkle. Wrinkled fingers, well, they also gave them a better grip of wet branches. And when gathering items from water, things like oysters, water-based plants, etc., made that easier. The wrinkling effect, it's not yet been shown in any other members of the primate group. And it's thought this is more due to us. We're not looking for it, so we just haven't observed it. There is one group of monkeys where this is different, and this is the Japanese macaw monkeys. These are like the snow monkeys that they spend large amounts of time soaking in warm springs. And it's been found that their fingers and toes, they do wrinkle, but we've looked for it, so that's why we've found it. Fingertip wrinkling, it's less pronounced in salt water than fresh water. This, it's thought it's because of this idea of water getting into the sweat duct. Salt water doesn't cause as big an imbalance as fresh water, so the nerves don't respond as strongly. So why aren't our fingertips wrinkled all the time if they're helping us? Well, again, this is undergoing research, but it's thought to do with the sensitivity of the fingers. There's a lot of nerves in your fingers, and when wrinkled, it reduces the amount of skin that is in contact with the object. Now, for all that though, wrinkled fingers or unwrinkled fingers makes no difference. We're still able to discriminate items when we pick them up. There are a number of other causes for finger wrinkling that are not to do with being submerged in water. Now, I'm not going to go into these because these are generally caused by an underlying medical condition. And if you're concerned about the wrinkling, it's best for you to seek medical advice. I hope you found this video interesting. I found it I know I keep saying this every video, really interesting to research. Please drop your comments down below. Are there any subjects you'd like me to cover? I'd love getting ideas from people, and that's what drove this particular video. It was a comment that someone made on the YouTube channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.